Hi everyone, thanks for joining me today. Slightly different set of reviews this week. Hopefully you've seen the past two on Cedar Island and watercolors. If not, then certainly check them out. What I'm doing this week is I'm reviewing boats that I believe are the best opportunities out there for refits. So the boat that I have for you this time is Montana Moon. She's sort of a one-off layout, a one-off sort of type and size boat, built by Hatteras in 1995. She's the only boat with a 5-stateroom layout like this, or the only Hatteras with this sort of 5-stateroom layout that also has the aft fishing cockpit, which is a great addition to this Hatteras range. So let's go and take a look inside. So looking at the specifications here, 118 foot long, just under 24 foot beam, which is a great beam, and 6.5 foot draft. She is fiberglass hull and superstructure, unlike the other two that were both aluminium hull and superstructure. Launched in 1995 by Hatteras. She actually has 3 main engines in here, which give her a great cruising speed of 17 knots and a top speed of 26 knots. The main engines are the Detroit diesels, so very reliable engines. Fuel 6,000 gallons, water maybe slightly less than average, 950 gallons, but she does have the water makers on board to keep on replenishing that water stock. 5-stateroom layout. At the moment she's in North Carolina. She is up on the hard. She's been there for some time, waiting for a new owner to come in and take on this project. But she has had a lot of surveys done throughout that time, and we know that there are no issues with the hull, any delaminating or any sort of rotting issues that you might be concerned about with a fiberglass hull being out of the water. So great asking price, $1,995,000, which makes her certainly one not to be overlooked when you're looking at taking on a project like this. So let's move into the photographs. A good boat to take a look at to compare to this is Farinante. That's another Hatteras. It has the 4-stateroom layout, but it's the same model as Montana Moon. She was launched a couple of years later, I believe 1997 was her launch date, but it gives you an idea of how you can change this interior layout to a completely different sort of look and feel. So take a look at that, and I can send that to you as well. I have the yacht pack ready to go for Farinante as well as Montana Moon, and the yacht pack, if you don't already know, is a bundle of information. It's essential information for anyone looking at purchasing a boat, and gives you this brochure, also pricing analysis, and for Montana Moon I'll put in there sort of different bits of information that I have about refit and past history and all that good stuff. So click on the right hand side on the yacht pack button and leave your name and email address and the name of the boat or boats if you're interested in more than one, and I'll send it off to you right away. But here, back to Montana Moon. The interior, these pictures you'll see here are taken in 2009, but I know her to look very, very similar. I mean, basically she's identical to as you see her now. There are a couple of areas that have sort of issues that need to be addressed now. One of them being one of the walls here that has the TV attached to it. Did get some water damage from the air conditioning unit up above. That leak and the sort of original source of the water has been fixed, but there was some damage to the veneer on that wood wall, and that sort of cosmetic side of it will need to be taken care of. The TV was undamaged, it's just the wall behind that, and we can see that area further on here. But a fantastic ceiling on here, nice decorative sort of coffers and trim pieces that they've used. A beautiful floor as well, nice gloss floor. They've used sort of two different woods to play off each other there, and real nice windows running sort of all the way along through to the country kitchen and back to the aft here, and we can see the country kitchen later on. So this is from on the top right hand side there. That's from the sort of forward end of the salon looking aft, and you can just see that wall there with the TV on it. I believe that's the wall that has the issues as far as the delaminator on the veneer goes. So not a huge job there, but cosmetic stuff that needs to be taken care of. These other photographs, these are of the country kitchen. This country kitchen is actually quite large. It's a bit larger than the equivalent sort of country kitchen on Farinante, the closest match to this. And a bit of a different layout as well. Most of the times this central island will be sort of running port to starboard, and rather than this is sort of off at an angle there. So slightly different layout, but again, if that's something that you want to change, that can be changed quite easily. And an asking price of under $2 million for a 118-foot boat, there's really sort of no end to the amount of work that you can do and quite happily commit to this boat. The interior layout, the cabins, is a very nice layout, full beam masted cabin here. Really very sort of modern feel here. It doesn't straight away feel like you're on a boat that was launched almost 20 years ago, 18 years ago. Nice bathrooms there. It's a his and hers bathroom. Moving on to the other cabins, they have a guest queen. Remember, this is a 5 stateroom layout, and all of those 5 cabins are on this lower deck. What's nice about it, though, is that even though they're all on this deck, none of the cabins really feel tight and cramped. So it's sometimes when you have cabins all on one level, the actual individual cabins feel very, very tight and cramped. Says the other queen there's a twin, and the other cabin, the 5th one that we don't see here, that's also a twin cabin. So moving upstairs, there's this sort of little Flybridge sort of sky lounge area that we have here. That's just behind the bridge, and the bridge has its own sort of captain's office or navigation station. Actually, this yacht is sort of a perfect candidate for stretching back that top deck as well. If we were to look at one of the other photographs of a running shot, I'll flick through. Let's go to the initial shot, the first running shot. Okay, so here, that back deck there, where you see it has the crane and sort of the seating area, that's actually a perfect opportunity to stretch that whole deck back. And you can either have a larger sky lounge, or you can even add a 6th cabin up there and have 6 cabins on a 118-foot boat. That's quite the opportunities there, and what that also allows you to do is make the Flybridge that much bigger as well. Right now it's a fairly tight Flybridge, has the same style as a lot of the Deltas used back in the same sort of time period, but to stretch that back would be the sort of an exciting job and refit sort of task there. So let's go back to where we left off. Here, the bridge equipment, as far as I'm aware, all of this equipment is used. It has all been updated throughout the time. You can see the new flat screen monitors there, and they have all of the modern sort of navigation programs and equipment in there. What's nice about this boat is they have this separate work lazarette and sort of control room here that's soundproofed from the main engine compartment or the engine room. So that's nice to have that for the crew to be able to work and still keep up with their general maintenance. Even when the boat is underway, you can still have that as a usable sort of area. What's also nice about this boat is that it actually has an upper day head as well, which is something you don't usually see. And what also that tells me is that all of the plumbing is already going up there, so if you did want to add another cabin up there, all of the water lines, all of the sewerage lines are already up there to turn this into a cabin. So that's a lot less work than you're going to have to do if that was a change that you wanted to make. Moving on to the exterior spaces, they do have the cranes here for the tenders and the jet skis that can be moved up to the next deck if this was stretched back to make it into a cabin or another sky lounge. They have nice sort of dining areas or seating areas here. This is the aft deck at the top on the right hand side, and then at the top on the left hand side is the aft deck, and the top on the right hand side, that's the sun deck. So they do have a nice area there, nice wet bar, fridges, ice makers. They've got this nice big grill up there, so you can imagine if that was stretched back to make that much more usable area, how nice that deck would be. This again is the boat deck aft that's on the top on the right hand side there. You can see just the nose of the jet ski there in that photograph. That's the same area that's at the bottom on the right, and then the other two photographs, top on the right and bottom on the left, that's actually the very bow of the boat, and what they have here is a jacuzzi and a nice little seating area. So it's a real good sort of use of that area. A lot of the times now you'll see a seating area and sort of a little coffee table, and for a long period of time when the boats were constructed they didn't actually use this area for anything, so it's nice to have that up there, and it's kind of a novel way of using it for the age of the boat. Some more shots of the boat deck, and then we can see this great fishing cockpit back here as well. So that's an awesome use of space. They have a nice little swim platform back there as well, and this is the only boat in the Hatteras range, or the only sort of model of this size that has this aft fishing cockpit. So that's a huge selling point for this boat. And now we can see on the top right a shot of her on the hard. That's where she still is now. They just did a lot of work cleaning her up. There were some issues with unfortunately the sort of climate that she's in is sort of a moist climate, so there were some issues with some moss and mold grown on the paint. So they recently had her cleaned and polished and waxed up. She does need a full paint job. She does need some attention to some of the air conditioning work. A lot of the ducting work will need to be looked at. I know some of the electronics throughout the boat will need to be looked at, so she's definitely a project, something that I think is well worth taking on, especially when you look at that asking price and when you compare it with other things on the market and what you could end up with here as far as your own sort of personal or personalized yacht. I think it's definitely one of those few that are on the market that are really priced right for someone to come in and put their own mark on things. So into the write-up is a very thorough write-up. As I said earlier, request that yacht pack and you can go through all this at your own time. It just lists everything that's on the boat. I won't stop and pause on this for too long. You can read it in your own time. What I do want to flick through to is some of the comments from the the seller here, which doesn't actually detail it on the write up here, but the seller does have all of the details from the boat's history, what has been done to her, how she got to where she is now up on the hard, what surveys have been done in the past, and any issues that came up from that. I know from speaking to him, the boat is very, very clean. There are no major issues here. She did get up to speed during her run from New Bern to where she is now. So really a very clean boat, a great opportunity here for someone to come in and get a great deal on the boat as far as its asking price right now. There's really nothing like it on the market, and really just the fact that she is the only boat with the 5 stateroom layout and with that big fishing cockpit really makes her a great choice for someone to come in and give her the attention that she needs. So thanks for joining me again this time. A quick run through, but request that yacht pack and I'll give you all the details. If you want to receive notification when next week's reviews are up and ready to go, then just click down below, be the first to know, leave me your name and your email address, and I'll get those quick emails off to you and let you know when the reviews are up and ready to watch. So thanks for joining me, and I'll see you next week.